I was asked what's the most common question that I encounter as a sexologist. Why my ex act like we're together even though we're just co-parenting? Now, I'm not co-parenting myself, but this topic, it comes up all the time in sessions, in DMs. Someone once said that most single parents still feel entitled to their ex-partners. And whether or not we agree, I think that it's worth unpacking because it's more common and psychological than most people think. So today, let's talk about the hidden emotional and neurological and sometimes sexual ties that make co-parenting complicated and how to recognize when boundaries are being blurred. Hi everyone, this is Brightly Abby, sexologist, content creator, and your cheeky guide to pleasure positive living. We will be talking about when co-parenting turns into co-flirting, why some exes cannot still let go. Part 1. The emotional math of co-parenting. Co-parenting is a long-term collaboration between two people who once shared deep intimacy. You are raising a child, which means you are still sharing decisions, moments, and sometimes even warmth. From a neurology and sexology perspective, that's powerful. Every positive interaction, shared laugh, a moment of empathy, this triggers oxytocin, the bonding hormone. It's the same chemical released during sex and cuddling. So, when one parent still feels connected or possessive, it is not always about love or entitlement. It's the brain remembering that this person once meant safety, belonging, and pleasure. That chemical memory can outlast the relationship itself. Part 2. When co-parenting energy starts looking like flirting. Let's talk about how it looks like when it crosses to something else. Number 1, over communication. Suddenly, every detail of the child's life becomes an excuse to chat. How was school turns into, by the way, you look nice when you picked up the child. Number 2, casual touch that lingers. A hug that lasts one beat too long. A brush on the shoulder that leaves your nervous system buzzing. Number 3, nostalgia drops. When he or she says, "Remember that beach trip that we had?" Well, that can translate to, "Remember when I still had access to you?" And number 4, jealousy disguised as concern. When they started asking, "Who's that person you're dating?" But they said it with a fake laugh and a clenched jaw. This can be signals that someone is struggling to recategorize their ex from lover to co-parent. Part 3. The neurology of not letting go. According to Dr. Helen Fisher's research on love and addiction, romantic attachment activates the brain's reward system, the same system that responds to substances like sugar and nicotine. So when a relationship ends and the two people still interact, those reward pathways don't get to shut down. Each kind exchange gives the brain a dopamine hit, a reminder of intimacy. That's why, even if the breakup was years ago, one person can still feel a pull. They are not addicted to the person anymore, but they are addicted to that feeling of familiarity. Part 4. When sexual energy lingers. One thing people rarely talk about is sexual residue, the way your body remembers intimacy even if your mind have moved on. You can often tell it's still present when the air feels charged during conversations. Then there's physical awareness, like breath changes or posture changes when one person is around, or dreams or fantasies resurfaces after seeing the ex. That is somatic memory. The body holds imprints of pleasure, scent, rhythm. It's biology, not betrayal. But if it's unacknowledged, that can lead to emotional confusion or blurred boundaries. Part 5. When one ex still wants more. When one parent still wants the other, it can show up in subtle sabotage in the form of emotional manipulation, competitiveness, or guilt trips. Is it familiar? Someone once told me that most single parents still feel entitled to their ex-partner. That entitlement often comes from pain and not power. It's the ego saying that if I can't have the relationship, I should still have priority access. Healthy co-parenting, though, is about evolving love, transforming romance into respect, and that means setting clear boundaries. And setting clear boundaries should involve keeping conversations child-focused, meeting in neutral spaces, limiting emotional intimacy that is not necessary, and if there's a new partner, keep everything transparent to prevent insecurity. Co-parenting can bring out the best and the most complicated parts of our humanity. The truth is, the love doesn't just vanish, it evolves. But evolution requires boundaries. If you are in a co-parenting dynamic where emotions or attraction still linger, it doesn't mean that you have failed. It means your biology and your psychology are catching up to your reality. So give yourself grace and structure, because the healthiest families are not built on old flames, but rather on new forms of respect. I just want to highlight that I have this question that said, tingin mo makikipag-sex pa rin ba sa akin yung ex ko kahit meron na siyang bagong partner tapos buntis pa? Actually, their setup is that every time na hihiramin yung bata is like may nangyayari sa kanila. Kahit may relationship siyang existing, but this time, it's kind of different because yung current girlfriend is pregnant na. And let's be honest, that is not uncommon as most people think, especially when these exes share a child. So here's what often happens in that situation viewed through sexology lens. Number 1, familiarity is powerful. For many people, the co-parent becomes a comfort zone. So your brain associates this person with safety, release, and attachment. When stress or guilt builds, for instance, around a new relationship or upcoming parenthood, the body sometimes seeks comfort in the most familiar erotic connection. And that is not romance. That is neurological coping. Number 2, sex can feel like closure, but it actually reopens the loop. When exes have sex, for old time's sake, the brain releases dopamine and oxytocin. Those chemicals create short-term calm but long-term confusion. In other words, it scratches the itch, but it inflames the wound. Number 3, guilt and ego complicate things. If his new partner is pregnant, he's entering a life transition that stirs up identity panic. Seeking intimacy with an ex becomes a subconscious attempt to confirm masculinity or soothe anxiety. It is not a genuine desire for reconnection. Number 4, the ethical line. Even if the attraction still exists, acting on it crosses emotional, sexual, and in your case, the reason why you are asking is that you feel that it would cross your moral boundaries. When there's a new partner, especially when they are expecting, continuing sexual contact with an ex no longer feels like comfort. Maybe for you, It feels like betrayal disguised as nostalgia. Now, if you're the one being approached, here's what you should do. Number one, recognize the pattern. Are they reaching out due to stress or loneliness? Then that is not love, that's regulation. Number two, check your own motive. Are you responding from curiosity, power, or longing? Number three, set explicit boundaries. You can say, we co-parent, we do not co-sleep. It sounds blunt, but clarity protects everyone, including the new child on the way. And in my experience, when an ex still wants contact, even after moving on, that is not always love.
He doesn't want you. He wants the access he used to have.
That is often ego and entitlement talking. They are not saying, I love you. They are saying, you used to be mine and a part of me still should be. That is the illusion of ownership. Confusing shared history with current permission. And it's powerful because for some, maintaining sexual access becomes a proof of superiority or control. It feeds their ego. It somehow says, even if I have someone, I can still have you. It is not desire. It's dominance disguised as nostalgia. And here's the wild part. This is why sexual boundaries matters more when kids are involved. Because every blurred line teaches your nervous system that emotional closure is not real. That the door never closes. So yes, he might still want sex, but not out of love. It's out of habit, ego, and the comfort of access. And once a new partner or baby is in the picture, that access doesn't come across as sexy anymore. It's selfish. Well, you can disagree. But here's my takeaway. The fact that sexual energy is still alive doesn't mean it should be expressed. It just means that there is unfinished attachment, a neural echo of what once was. Acknowledging it is maturity. Acting on it would only recycle pain. So, if someone asks you, if do you think my ex would still sleep with me even though he has moved on? My honest answer is maybe he would. But the better question is, why would you let him? Because co-parenting is about raising a child. It's not about resurrecting chemistry. And true healing begins the moment you realize that you can still feel that pull and still you chose peace over pattern. Once again, this is Brightly Abby, sexologist, content creator, and your cheeky guide to pleasure positive living. If you want a one-on-one session with me as a sexologist, or you would just like to try a 15-minute talk to see if we vibe, I'm putting the link down below where you can book. Thank you once again, and I'll see you till the next vlog.
Riley and Big Red, two sisters vlogging their hearts out.